Cheers. Hello and welcome to Pregaming with Morgan, presented by Legendary Realms. I'm Morgan West, and today I am joined by my good friend Rich Ricky. Rich,
hello.
You may have seen Rich in a previous Pregaming with Morgan. You may have seen him in The Weekly Word or in the Monday night stream, The Short Rest Chronicles.
Yeah.
Rich, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Let's see. I am been playing board games, I think, for a long while. The amount of time I can't say because it gives away my age.
Oh. Sneaky.
Been playing board games, RPGs. I do Dungeons and Dragons. I am primarily a dungeon master.
Yes, you've been my dungeon master.
I have.
Yeah.
In several games. The Monday game is my first time playing as a player in like 5 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, I don't like not having
Well,
the power.
you seem pretty comfortable, I have to say.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Pandemic and actually winning this game because I have never won at this game.
Yes, and that is why I brought Rich on today. Pandemic is the game we will be playing today. It is a cooperative strategy game by Z-Man Games. It's a favorite of mine, as is yours. Yes, you have played it?
Yes, I have played it frustrating amount of times.
Oh, man.
I want to say above 10 times and never won.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we turn the tides around
I hope
today.
so.
Without
humankind and all that good stuff.
Yes, without further ado, I will read the intro and then we'll get started with setting up the game. So, can you save humanity? Can you, Rich? No.
I need your help.
As skilled members of a disease-fighting team, you must keep 4 deadly diseases at bay while discovering their cures. You and your teammates will travel across the globe treating infections while finding resources for cures. You must work as a team to succeed. Pandemic is a cooperative game, which means all players win or all players lose together.
Yeah.
The clock is ticking as outbreaks and epidemics fuel the spreading plagues. Can you find all 4 cures in time? The fate of humanity is in our hands.
God help them all.
Yeah. It does not bode well.
No, I'm bad luck. I'm bad luck.
All right, let's get started.
Okay.
Pandemic.
So that's the full book.
Oh, international award-winning game in USA, France, and Australia.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so first you've got your rule book. On the first page, it explains the different portions of the game.
Okay.
You've got the board, comes out next. The decks of cards, which I've already broken down into.
Aren't you a good person?
I am. I'm prepared. If anything, I am prepared. We also have disease cubes.
Because always diseases are actually square shaped. Not a lot of people know that, but once you get into a microscope, they're all square.
We've got the pawns, and then the markers, as well as the research stations.
So set this up.
Let's do the first step, which is set up the board and put out the pieces. And once we've got that done, we're going to take a break. All right. Before we go any further, why don't we have a shot?
There we go.
There you go. All right, cheers. What is this, the 3rd?
4th, 5th.
They all start losing track eventually, right? Ooh, okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
So, the first step is setting out the board. We've already got that out. Next is setting up the pieces. So, I'm going to give you the disease cubes first. How about that?
Yeah.
I've already dropped 4 bags on the floor. Oh, 3. Here we go. There's blue, which I've decided is depression today.
Depression?
Yeah.
I thought blue should be sad. Oh, that is sad. Hence the 4 shots, yeah.
So we've got the black plague we'll be fighting today.
Okay.
Yellow fever.
Okay.
Well, how does that sound?
Yellow fever. Sounds
Yellow
good.
fever. Scarlet fever. Which fever will kill us?
I would say, well,
We can call this
red.
jaundice.
No.
Jaundice.
Or drinking and liver failure. Sounds appropriate.
All right, that works. And then scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever.
Yes. All right.
Put 'em out of that. Okay.
Once we have that out, we're going to place the markers. So we've got the outbreak marker.
Mm-hmm.
This piece here determines whether or not we have failed at containing the diseases as they spread. We've got the infection rate marker. This determines how dangerous, how infectious the diseases are. And then we've got the cure disease markers, right? These are what we will be hoping to fill as we play the game.
Do you put them on the board?
No, you leave them next to the board, actually. Okay. Because once you've cured a disease, you move it onto the board. Once you've eradicated the disease, you flip it over and you show the eradication symbol. Let's hold this up. You can't see it. No. Trust me, it's there.
Maybe with the black one you can see.
Perhaps.
The black one you can see a little bit better.
All right. Excellent. So we're going to leave those close to the location. Once we have our pieces out, we'll leave these within easy reach for all of us. Take the board. All right. And now we're going to handle the infection deck.
Should we wear plastic gloves to protect ourselves?
We really should. Okay. So. Now, I'm going to have you separate those. The cards that have the green back are the infection cards.
Okay.
Here are some more infection cards. You also have the roll cards as well as the reference cards in your pile there.
Okay. Should I shuffle these?
You can shuffle them, yep. All right, we've got all 7 rolls. These are going to come into play on the next step when we divvy up the rolls.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you haven't played the game before, you wouldn't know this, but every player gets a very specific role which gives you specific benefits in-game. So, for example, the scientist is represented by the white pawn, and the scientist provides that player with a special action that they can take on their turn. You need only 4 cards of the same color to discover a cure action, which is very useful. I always hope that I have the scientist somewhere in a game. I don't know about you, but I find it very helpful. So we've got the infection rate marker set up. The infection deck is shuffled.
It is shuffled.
Okay, so you can place it on the infection deck pile.
Voila.
Okay, so the next step is infecting cities.
Whoa.
Yes. So in the infection deck, we have a card for each city that appears on the board.
Okay.
Each city that appears on the board is connected to the cities around it by white lines. Those white lines represent whether or not a city can infect a nearby city.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing we're going to do is find out the state of affairs in the world around us. So I need you to flip the first 3 cards of that deck. So Milan,
Santiago,
okay,
and Delhi.
All right. So the Black Plague taking a strong first step. Okay. Oh, actually, no. Milan is represented by
blue
depression.
Yes.
So we're gonna stick.
Where they make all these lovely.
You've got it. All right.
Lovely outfits and such. They are depressed with those outfits.
What?
Yeah, Milan's where they do the five.
Oh, that's true. That's true. So you're actually going to put 3 disease cubes at Milan. Yeah.
They are super sad there.
Very sad. Yes. This season's line was not well received.
Not well received at all.
Next is Santiago. So we're going to put 3 disease cubes at Santiago. There you go. And then 3 at Delhi.
Oh, the Black Plague.
The Black Plague.
Coming back.
Okay. Next up, we're going to infect 3 more cities, this time with 2 disease cubes each.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of this step, we're going to have infected 9 different cities, and we'll have placed 18 different disease cubes.
Oh.
So Paris is next. Paris also having a rough time at Fashion Week.
It's just, you know what? It's just hard.
Beijing gets 2. And Riyadh is going to get 2 also.
Is
right there, yep. And then finally, we're going to flip 3 last cities over.
Chicago, the Windy City, Bangkok, and San Francisco.
All right, so those are going to get 1 disease cube each.
Okay.
Now, there is one thing we forgot to do is place our first research station out. The research station look like the houses or hotels that you would recognize from Monopoly. And they represent locations where the CDC has established locations where you can cure diseases.
Okay.
Do you know that the CDC is based in Atlanta?
I do, from Walking Dead.
Yes, that's right. So the first and only research station is going to be placed in Atlanta. All right. Once we have that done, we're going to move on to the player pawn and roll deal out. So we are going to be playing today with 4 players. I'm playing with Rich Ricky, as well as my boyfriend Alex and my good friend Karen. All right. So, Rich, I'm going to let you select. Now, in the rules, as per the rules, I'm supposed to randomly deal out these rolls, but I'm going to let you choose. We'll leave it up to fate. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Who are you playing?
I am operations expert. So, as an action, I can build a research station in the city you are in. No city card needed. And once per turn as an action, move from a research station to any city by discarding any city card.
I love that. That's a great roll. All right. Karen will be playing the contingency planner. As an action, she will be able to take any discarded event card and store it on this card. When you play the stored event card, remove it from the game. Limit 1 event card on this card at a time, which is not part of her hand. That's great. So not only will we be able to use it once, we'll be able to use it a second time. I love that. As for me, I will be playing the dispatcher.
Okay.
Move another player's pawn as if it were your own. As an action, move any pawn to a city with another pawn. Get permission before moving another player's pawn. Okay.
Permission is
You want to select for Alex? Let's see. What will he be playing? All right.
Alex will be playing as the quarantine specialist. He will prevent disease cubes placements and outbreaks in the city you are in and all cities connected to it.
I love that. That's another good card. All right. So the remaining rolls will be removed from the game. Last up, we're going to place all of the color coordinated pawns at the research station in Atlanta. So we've got the contingency planner, the dispatcher, the operations expert, and the quarantine specialist. Okay.
A very colorful palette.
Yeah, I like it. It's very cool. All right, next step, we are going to deal out the player deck. So what you're going to do is separate all of the epidemic cards from the player deck, and then you're going to shuffle them up. I did a little bit of shuffling before we got started.
Okay.
So this is already
just like we started drinking before
shape.
we kind of.
Oof, I'm feeling it already. How about you?
Yeah.
I'll take a drink. Cheers. All right. So now you deal out the hand based on the player size. So if there are only 2 players playing the game, they get 4 cards each.
Okay.
You always mess me up with that.
I mess with everyone up with that.
You do. If you've got 3 players, they get 3 cards. If you've got 4 players, they each get 2 cards. So that's how we're going to do it. So everybody's going to get 2 cards.
Kiki.
All right. If this is your first time playing, they recommend that you expose the cards that are in your hand. As a cooperative game, I generally always expose the cards I have in my hand. I am very pushy when it comes to other players' cards as well. So I like to know what you've got. What have you got? Show me.
I have Chicago and Santiago.
Perfect. I have Algiers and Kolkata, which means it looks like I'll be taking down the Black Plague.
I'd probably be doing a little traveling.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to hand everybody a reference card. This reference card shows you what you can do on your turn. Oh, I left a reference card on the floor.
Oh, no.
Here we go. There we go. Karen's ready to go. All right, so now that we've done that, everyone has their hand, everyone has their roll, everyone has their reference card. The last step we're going to be doing is building the player deck. Now, the player deck is where the danger really comes into play, because the player deck contains the epidemic cards. Okay, so we are going to separate the deck into piles, equaling the total number of epidemic cards will be including in the game. Now, the game is broken down into 3 different difficulty sections. You've got introductory.
Okay.
You've got difficult, and then you've got heroic. Introduction, standard, and heroic. Okay. We are going to be playing an introductory game, which means we will be including 4 epidemic cards in our game. So we're going to build 4 different piles, and I'm going to ask you to shuffle that pile, then you'll shuffle this pile. I'm going to remove the 2 remaining epidemic cards from the game. So we're going to shuffle these up.
So the one I was supposed to shuffle, you just picked up and start shuffling.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can take this one.
No, it's fine. That's work for me. No.
You're not going to get away that easy. Okay, so so you'll shuffle that. I will shuffle this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the smallest of the decks and put it on the bottom, increasing in size. So you want to try and keep them roughly the same size. I'm not an expert visually, so they're going to be a little bit different in terms of size. I think this is probably the largest of the piles, though.
This is currently the smallest.
Okay, perfect. So that's going to go on the bottom.
I don't know what's in your hand. You're still shuffling the last remaining thing.
Here, you tell me.
All right,
there we go.
Because this one's actually the smallest.
Perfect. So that'll go on the bottom, followed by that one. This one? What do you think? Give them a feel. Let me know.
This one and this one.
Okay, perfect. So this is our deck. We're all set to go. We're going to put this right down there. All right. So we've got the player deck all set. Once we have that done, we're going to begin play. That's about it.
That's it?
It's it.
We're done?
It's pretty simple. So at this point now, what we would do was refer to our city cards here.
Okay.
These are, if you remember our hand, the reference card as well as your roll card aren't considered as part of your hand. Your hand is limited to a maximum of 7 cards, including cities as well as event cards, which will be randomly placed within this deck.
Okay.
So what we're going to look at is our population. So give me the populations for your cards, your cities.
Let's see. What is that? 9,121 and 6,000,000. Waiting for the city or for the? Oh, for the city, it's 1,300 per kilometer squared. And this is 6,500 kilometers squared.
Is that how that works? I always thought that
I'm pretty sure there's not 9 million.
No, the population is on this side. Yes.
But there's 9 million people in Chicago? Okay. Let's say yes.
That seems like a lot, doesn't it?
It does. Hence why I was like, this is confused.
I think they're lying to us.
Maybe it's just that whole area.
I think there's only 8 million people in New York City, and surely New York City is much more heavily populated than Chicago.
Listen, I'm sure whoever made this game did a lot of research.
That's true. All right, so let's use the right hand number. So what have you got on the right hand? It's per kilometer, right?
Yes.
So what is your total? Your highest one.
6,500.
I've also got 6,500. Let's sneak over here and see what Karen's got. Karen's got 30,900 and 2,100. How about Alex? What does Alex have?
Alex has 14,600 and 9,500. So I think Karen's
starting.
Karen has a lot of people to worry about.
Mumbai. Yes, she is. All right. So at this point, we're gonna get going with gameplay.
Yes.
The turns are broken down into 4 different actions. Every player can take 4 actions, no more than that. They can always take less if need be. Those actions include driving or ferrying. They include chartering a flight, direct flights, curing diseases, and even building research stations. Sharing knowledge also is another action players can take. We'll explain a little bit more of that once we get going in game.
Okay.
So I think it's done.
Time to play.
Are you ready?
I'm ready to not lose.
All right, me too. Thank you for watching, and please click in, watch us as we play Pandemic.
Yes.
Hopefully we win.
Hopefully.
Until next time.